Okay, good evening, race fans, and welcome again to another episode of Riding Shotgun Conversations with Tuason Racing. And tonight we have two very, very cool friends joining us tonight. They are the faces of a new show called Torque of the Town. They are both multimedia influencers, and both of them are certified titos. We have Jinno, Rufino, and Caco Tirona. Come on down, you guys. Woo! What's
Certified
up?
Tito. Awesome.
Holy
I'm not
Yeah.
even gonna deny that.
wow.
I used to deny that. Not
Wow.
anymore. I embrace it. I welcome the
Dude.
Titohood.
I'm sorry, my friend, but you've joined the club. How you doing, you
Is there,
guys? It's been some
is there
time.
any chance that we can stay away from the Tito hood and just become TILFs? I'd be okay with just being a TILF.
I don't know, man. This is a PG show. We can't go
Sorry.
there.
Oops.
All right,
Sorry.
Yeah.
so it's been a while since we've talked, and what we really wanted to talk about tonight is we want to talk about the obsession nowadays with motorcycles. Man, there are so many motorcycles out there on the streets today. When I talk to my motorcycle friends, they say that people are buying motorcycles like it was going out of style.
Yeah.
What is up with that, you guys?
Well,
Tell me.
I think the pandemic kind of did something to people. First of all, for mobility purposes, I mean, because we saw it in the metrics of the website Motodeal. I think it was up 200+% during the middle part of the lockdown. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, people are buying the smaller bikes, but more and more people are starting to get the big bikes as well. And I think a lot of that has to do because of multiple reasons. One, people don't have anything better to do, right? So they need to get out, they need to do something, and they wanted to get into big bikes before. Now it accelerated. Now they got into it a little bit faster than they probably would have. And I think a lot of it has to do because of, I really do believe it, and I think you guys, some of you, I think you guys would agree with me, riding motorcycles, at least JP might agree with me, riding motorcycles is actually very good for your mental health. It really does something that really does help you, at least it does help me keep sane. It's mental health on two wheels, therapy on two wheels, I should say.
So yeah, you guys, do you think all of this motorcycle buying has anything to do with people thinking that you only live once, and there's a high possibility that this could be their last chance, right? So off they go.
Absolutely. People went into YOLO mode and started buying big bikes.
Without
And
knowing how to ride them, right?
yeah, sometimes, which is actually kind of dangerous. I think people need to understand that, and I actually hope that people will take the necessary classes and learn how to ride, especially the big bikes. The small bikes you can probably get away with a little bit more, but the big bikes, if you're out, especially in the expressway or in high speed areas, you really need to. It's a skill that you need to learn, and there are certain classes that people can take in order to fine tune that skill.
Yeah, we're running the superbike school next month, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But what do you think, Caco? With all these motorcycles being bought?
Well, I gotta agree with Gino. He mentioned earlier that it's not just about personal mobility, but it's also for your mental health. And although I don't ride motorcycles outside of the city, I mean, I do have a Vespa that I would ride, or I do ride inside the city. But Gino's right, man. I mean, if it's for your mental health, you just gotta get out there, something new, something different. So that's exactly what a motorcycle can represent. It's freedom. It's being able to feel the wind come against your body, and as you're doing 100 kilometers per hour, very, very different from being inside a car. The point that I'd like to get to is exactly what it is that you said. I know that you said that we talk about it later, but definitely no one's stopping anyone from buying motorcycles. For goodness sakes, I mean, that's the business that Gino and I are in. Well, Gino more so than I, but I think you're absolutely right about touching into making sure that people actually know what it is that they're doing. They got to take the proper classes, because driving a motorcycle and driving a car, it's not a right, it's a privilege, right? So
That's right.
they got to take the classes
Agreed.
for that.
Totally agree. Well, because we're already talking about it, I totally believe that motorcycles represent freedom, but they also represent danger. And you guys have brought it up. We do have a class coming up. So those people that want to learn how to ride bikes, I think we've got a poster we can show you in a second. But we've got classes for our Superbike School. And this is going to be on March 27 and 28. So here we go. So this is going to be at the Clark Circuit. And we're basically flying in instructors from all over the world. And these are the guys that they actually race superbikes in Europe, in America, in Australia. And we bring these instructors in to teach people how to ride bikes properly. And the reason why we did this is because we had so many of our friends get into accidents. They got hurt, they died, simply riding wrong on the streets, right? And it's easy to get it wrong when you're riding a superbike because these things go really, really quick.
James,
So,
sorry to butt in, but this is a serious question. It's going to sound like I'm taking a piss out of anything, but I'm serious. But for shorter people like myself, and I'm sure there are others out there, is it possible for us to enroll in the Superbike School? Would we find a fit for us vertically challenged people?
well, okay. So basically, the way we run the school is people are allowed to bring whatever bike they're comfortable to ride. Now, we do have demo bikes at the school. We work with Kawasaki, and we have a fleet of bikes that are there that they can try on the day. But we encourage people to bring their own bikes simply so that they're comfortable with what they're riding on the track. And on the average, the bikes are either 600 or 1,000 cc bikes. But we do allow smaller displacements, and the smallest is a 250. You can come with your 250 cc, and for challenged riders, right? You usually get the smaller bike. You can reach the floor with them. But it's interesting with even some of the bigger bikes. You can actually adjust the ride height, bring them down a little bit, make them more rideable. So I'm sure we can get you on something, Caco. You should come out to the school.
Vespa pwede.
Vespa, well, some of the skills would translate to the Vespa because we do a 2-day program every year, and we've been doing this for 8 years now. And it's a total of 4 days of training to do the whole Superbike School. But the first 2 days are focused really on basic skills, road safety stuff, things that you would translate directly to the road. So, Jinno, I've been trying to get you out to the school for years.
Yeah,
You got to come out.
I know. I mean, the past times that you asked me, I was just starting to ride motorcycles. So medyo I was a little scared to get onto a high displacement bike. But hey, if that invitation is still open for this year, I would totally do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Maybe you have more time this year, huh?
And I also have more time this year than I used to. And plus also, Japes, I do mean it. I do believe it, and I mean it when I say that you really need to learn as much as you can. And even though I've taken a lot of different classes, some in Clark as well, that I understand that this school is one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world. And if there is more knowledge that I can learn, especially that I'm on a bike a whole lot more often now than I used to be, it's the big bikes that I'm sure it would be something that would benefit me, not just for the videos that we produce, but also for the safety side of it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, the first 2 days that we do at the school, which is what you would come and do, is really about understanding what the bike does, right? Because honestly, sometimes the bike isn't, sometimes when you're a new rider, the bike is controlling you. You're not controlling the bike. And that's the problem, right? When you're not 100% in control of what you're doing, you can get into an accident. So we try to go through all of the different basics to make sure that you understand what you're doing out there, because there's a lot that can go wrong, right? I mean, the dog can cross the street, the tricycle in front of you can stop right away, and a lot of people get into an accident simply because they're not in control, they don't know what to do, and all of a sudden it just happens so quickly, you're in an accident. Forget about wrecking the bike because that's automatic, but getting hurt is what we're trying to avoid. Right. Yeah. So I would love to see you at the school. Now, what I wanted to do tonight also is talk to you guys about your experience in bikes, because you guys are on a car and bike show. So let's talk about bikes.
Okay.
So,
Uh,
Gino, talk to us about your experience and obsession with these motorcycles.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of the bikes, the one that we're looking at right now, this is the BMW F900R Style Sport. I think one of the most underrated bikes that was launched last year, and I think one of the reason why it's pretty underrated because it was launched when the pandemic hit, like right in the beginning.
Hmm,
So medyo bad timing siya. But
right.
if you consider that what the bike has in terms of its tech, what the bike can do, and how the fun factor of that bike, and it being a BMW and priced reasonable, it should be one of the more sought after bikes out there. I would say. Um, this picture that you're looking at also is one of the times that we did a collaboration with Gakimoto, and that's her on the other F900R.
Okay.
So that's kind of some of the stuff that we've been doing on Motodeal. We're trying to not just give reviews or features. We're trying to do a little bit more fun stuff that we can incorporate bikes with. But it's been fun, man. The journey has been great, and I think I put a lot of miles. Considering I've been riding for maybe just closing in on 4 years, maybe 3 years. I put in a lot more miles than I really thought I would have in the first 3 years of riding big bikes.
What's been your most adventurous ride ever?
Um, all right. It's one that I wasn't part of Motodeal yet. I was still part of Visor, and I borrowed the Yamaha XSR 700, and I rode up to take photos of the bike and learn more about it and test it out all the way to Tagaytay to Lemery on the day that the volcano erupted.
Oh, wow. Nice. So you were in a
Without
hurry to get out of there.
Yeah, without knowing it erupted, it was going off. We were there, and then we went down to Lemery pa. It already erupted, and we went even further in without knowing that it erupted.
Wow.
And then to make matters worse, one of our companions lost the keys to her bike.
No.
So we had to spend an extra 2 hours an hour looking for the keys. While the ash was starting to fall, the ground was shaking.
Wow.
Wow.
Super
I mean,
stress.
yeah, it wasn't meant to be a crazy bike ride, but it turned out to be one. And then riding home with the ash on the ground, the visibility not great, and then the volcano going off. I mean that I will never ever forget that day. And when I got home, I hugged the bike, saying thank you very much for being over safely. And yeah, and that's something that I'll never forget.
Wow, cool. How about you, Caco? You've had some experience with biking, right?
Yeah, I do. The odd thing is I've probably been riding bikes longer than Gino has, but
Yeah.
only small
Okay.
displacements. I mean, I've been around motorcycles. My dad had a BMW K series, and then he had an R1200C, and then that Rebel that you're looking at right now was actually my bike, and I had that thing since '95. So I've been riding since the early '90s, but I've never been the type of person that rode a motorcycle out of the city. I think the furthest I ever went with that Rebel that you're looking at was, excuse me, was Tagaytay, and that's about it. I also have a Vespa, and excuse me, my my
And your children ride it. Man, I don't know how
well,
safe that is.
that's just a stunt that we decided to do. We did that just basically for the gram and to scare Lisa because she was out of the house. But um, I more or less ride the Vespa just in town to scoot around traffic and to get to places a lot faster. So I'm not the type
Yeah.
of person that actually rides motorcycles outside of the city. When I do want to go out of the city, I most likely rather take a car. The truth is, I'm probably scared to ride a motorcycle out of the city because, well, I hate to admit it, and I hate to admit it to Gino, but I'd actually probably fall in love with it. So I try to keep the devil away, so to speak. Not to say anything bad about motorcycles; they're absolutely great machines, same as cars. It's just that I'd rather keep myself on four wheels than two wheels when I'm going out of town. But I cannot deny about that I've been around motorcycles for the longest time, and they're really just really great things. So long as you know how to operate them and you follow the rules of the road.
Yes, I agree totally, and that's why I think both of you guys should come to the Superbike School this year when we get it going. The only thing is you gotta have gear, right? We've got bikes, but you gotta have gear.
Yeah,
That's
so
the thing.
you need the full leathers, right?
Well, yeah, for level 1, I think we can get away with the textiles so long as you have a suit, right? And yeah, there you go. Jeans is all decked out in Alpine stars. Very good, very good looking race suit right there. So you're ready to go.
Yeah, but
You
that's
look
not
the
really
part.
That's looks lang. If you can't perform, Japorm, diba? So that's. But you know what?
You'd be surprised, right? Because you raced the cars before.
Yeah,
When you actually ride the bikes hard, you get a lot away from it as well, right? So
yeah,
it's
so that's something I wanted to ask you because I'm
Mm.
quite familiar with Clark International Speedway.
Yeah.
I kind of memorized the turns and everything already, but on the bike it feels a little bit different. Like even though it
Yeah.
does, like, I'm on it, and this day right here I was in Clark riding around it's the R3. I tried the R6 after,
Yeah.
but the braking points are very different from where they normally are on a car. And then the
Yeah.
apex, of course, the apex, but everything else is kind of slightly different. And then I don't know, I have to remind myself this is eerily familiar, but not. And I have to just watch out that I can't do certain things like I would normally do in a car that I would do on a bike and Clark.
Yeah, it's a little strange because you accelerate so much quicker, right? You're traveling down the straight at a lot more speed than you would with the normal race cars that we have, but you have to brake a lot earlier as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because you're using mostly the front brakes, right? I don't know if that was your experience. So you're using mostly the front brakes, so you're feeling that the bike really coming down on its front wheel, and the back is getting a little light, and it's super adrenaline compared to the cars, and the entry. Although you're traveling really quickly through the straights, the corner speed is not nearly as quick.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest difference, right? Because you've only got two wheels versus four.
Yeah.
So the dynamics are different, but the adrenaline is definitely there because it's so much quicker than cars. So much quicker.
Yeah, like I'm going over 200 kilometers per hour on the main straight.
Oh, I'm sure you're doing close to 240, bro.
Yeah,
For
so
sure.
I'm not looking at
show.
I'm not looking at the speed at that often. It's just when I look at it, it's like at 220 or so, and then but I already had close to throttle, ready to turn turn one. But yeah, it's the sensation is very different. So I have to I constantly have to remind myself, you're not in a car. you're on the bike. You're on the bike. You're on the bike.
You definitely can't ride around the track at Clark thinking you're on a car, because that'll put you into trouble. That's why I'd love to have both of you guys at the school this year. And again, we'll talk after the show about details to get onto the school day with us. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about next is the website. You guys have Motodeal, and I think we've been talking about bikes. We've been talking about people buying bikes like it's crazy. Tell us about what is the best way to buy a bike nowadays.
Through the Motodeal website, of course.
Okay, cool. Talk us through that, man. How does that work?
Autodeal has been around for quite some time now, and Caco has been part of the company. How long now, Cax?
A little over 3 years now.
Yeah. So they realized they needed something. So they used to have bike stuff in Autodeal as well.
Okay.
And then they realized there was a need to have its own website and whole, YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And so they created Motodeal. And then I ended up joining them last year, about a year, almost a year ago today, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
I would say right before the lockdown, I joined Motodeal. And so in Autodeal, you can purchase cars through the site, and in Motodeal, we're offering that as well. So you can
Okay.
do, it's a one-stop shop. You can get on the website, look through all the different brands, the different manufacturers, the different models, the different, all that kind of stuff. There's reviews, there's info about the bikes, reviews on written reviews, YouTube reviews with yours truly, and a lot of information. So whether you're buying, what is that? Is that CF Moto's stuff on top, and then there's the Vespa stuff, and then there's also mga deals that we have on the website. So there's
Okay.
parang a certain percentage off. You get something there, look at that, the Honda with the 2,500 cash discount. May mga ganyan. So there's a lot of stuff like that's being offered through the site, and we partner up with dealerships, whether it's the dealerships like Triumph, Triumph and Vespa, and
Okay.
then also dealerships, the many dealerships of Wheeltech. They are a partner as well. KTM's a partner. I mean, there's a lot that we've partnered up with, and it's quite I would say, if I wasn't working on in Motodeal, I would say that would be my go-to place if I wanted to know more and buy a motorcycle.
Okay. Very cool. Do you guys have any special offers that are happening lately that is really getting a lot of attention, or are you like just collating all of the best deals from around town?
There's always a pretty good deal that's happening on Motodeal. There's always discounts here and there, special deals depending on dealerships. The beauty about Motodeal is that when you enter your details, when you're looking for a motorcycle, you input what it is that you're looking for, the area that you may be in, and then Motodeal will eventually search the closest dealership to you with the best prices that you can, for the best prices of the particular motorcycle that you're looking for. And when you check the website on a daily in a daily fashion, you'll see that there are promos that happen for one particular brand, and maybe a couple of weeks later, another particular brand may have promos. And the promos can be as big as what Jinno just mentioned. It could be a 2,500 off. It could be like as much as 10,000 pesos off. It really changes. So it would be to the benefit of the buyer, especially a motorcycle buyer, if they were to visit motodeal.com and really just check it out.
Wow. So you need to be checking on a weekly basis for what the best deal is for you, huh?
I mean, maybe don't need to check.
You may never buy. You're always looking.
Oh, you can just add to cart, buy multiple, diba?
Yeah. There you go. One for every day of the week. Why not?
One from each manufacturer.
There you go. Well, you know what they say, right? The perfect number of bikes to own is always n+1. N is the number of days in the week +1. So you're always on rotation.
Yeah, but it's what's like with this website. I mean, like I mentioned the number kanina. I think we're up 200+%. A lot of that is for the smaller displacements, but we're starting to see also a lot of traction for the big bikes. And it's like we mentioned, the three of us mentioned a while ago. A lot of it is because of, it really does help the, with mental health, and it's people just deciding, what, YOLO na. Who knows if this pandemic will ever end, or who knows what's going to happen next. We may as well do it now.
That's right. And all of the manufacturers in the Philippines, or all of the bikes that are being sold here, can be found on this one site.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
One-stop shop, right?
Whether you're one of the you're looking for something from the big four in the Japanese brands, you're looking for something from Europe, you're looking American, you're looking something a little bit more budget. So like the CF Moto, actually I was telling Caco kanina, CF Moto, surprisingly, is now among the top brands that is searched for on their website. And cool. It's a company that's, they're relatively new in the Philippine market, and it's China. It's a China bike. So they've actually been quite successful. And the distributors are that of the same distributors that distribute MV Agusta. So they have the top end, the Italian superbikes, and then they have the CF Moto bikes as well.
Ah, okay. All right, cool. Very cool. All right. Well, that's the website. So if you want to buy a bike, please check out Motodeal. Right. If you want to buy a car, check out Autodeal. And what I wanted to do now is move on to your new show, guys. You've got a new show called Torque of the Town. Tell us about that.
Cox?
Man, look at these two guys. Woo!
Did
Like
you know?
porn
Do you notice
stars.
though? They actually increased the size of Caco in this photo. He's not that tall. Like, I don't understand why they make Caco look like we're the same height. It's so wrong. You guys, it's fake. Fake. That's fake news right there.
There's
So,
a
tell us
finger
about the
behind
show, you
my
guys.
head
What's the
that I
show
can't
all
show
about?
you people. Torque of the Town is a podcast that Jinno and I host that comes out on Spotify or wherever else you get your podcast from. It's about an hour long, and the first few programs that we had, Jinno and I were just talking about topics such as pet peeves, and to be honest with you, I can't remember the other topics. But
sometimes we argue which is better, bikes or cars.
Yeah,
Okay.
we do that a lot.
Yeah.
And then just recently,
that's a tough one.
we've been inviting guests to our show to talk about. Sometimes Jinno makes sense. More often than not, I don't make sense, but we have a lot of fun doing it anyway. We've got guests like recently we talked about the inspection centers that were going up just before it was mandated that it was going to be it wasn't going to be mandatory. So we were talking about that. Recently, we had James on the program, Mr. Tito O'Clock himself, talking about the child seat law. You know, it's stuff like that we pretend to know what we're talking about and tackle. But in all honesty, we're just having really a lot of fun. Okay, we do make sense every once in a while. Well, okay, Jinno makes sense every once in a while. I'm just there to mess things up. But it's a light program. It's nice to listen to, especially when you're working in the office or even when you're driving to work. It's something pretty fun and at the same time informative to listen to. And we've been doing this. We've had about 10 episodes now, 10 or 11, something like that. And we do it. It comes out every Wednesday. We try to publish it every Wednesday at about 10 a.m. And pretty soon we're gonna do the same podcast and what do you call this? Publish it on YouTube as well. But primarily it is for Spotify and wherever else you pick up your podcast from.
Yeah. So Jay, basically, like imagine we had an owner of one of the MVICs.
Yeah.
And then we also had, so that's one episode. So medyo serious that episode. And then another episode
He must have been really upset on the show.
Well, he was. And then another one we were talking about our pet peeves, riding and driving around the Philippines. So it's sometimes it's light, sometimes it can get a little serious, but still in a fun way.
All right, awesome. And so you guys do a show once a week, and you publish it on Wednesdays in the mornings, and people pick it up on Spotify. Aside from that, I mean, what do you guys have up and coming for the rest of the year?
Cox looks confused.
Nothing. I have absolutely nothing. I'm not going to do anything. I intend to sit on my butt, not do anything, and just wait for the paychecks. I mean, it's dangerous to go out there. Why would I risk my damn life? Come on, man. Please, go out there, do all the work. I'll sit there, talk to JP, and just count the money, bro. I cannot afford to leave. I got children. I got mouths to feed.
I envy you guys.
No, so
I gotta bust my chops, man. I got 5 kids.
5.
You might have a few more after this lockdown. No, so
we know a couple of people that have lockdown babies, don't we? So yeah.
But clearly, between the two of us, I'm a little bit more serious than Caco is. But we are planning a couple of things. If you've been watching the Autodeal and the Motodeal YouTube channels, we've never really been sabay. There's a couple of episodes that we've had na parang I crack a joke and I make a height joke, and then Caco shows his face. Like there's a lot of mga ganyan. There's a lot of cameos. But we do plan to have stuff that's a little bit more, not exactly a review or feature, but more lifestyle-y. So there's both a car and a bike. Yeah. So that's
very cool.
That's something that we're working on. Did you know that, Cox, or was I the only one who understood what was being said?
Yeah. That's some of the stuff that have been planned. Although Jinno may not be completely up to date with the details. I mean, some of those programs where Jinno and I are going to be involved in together will require a couple of pounds of feathers, an ostrich, and a cat, and maybe a goat at the same time, and a tub of lard.
And maybe a bunch of glue, right?
These things. Bunch of glue too. So it's a special. Just wait out for it.
Okay, great. Well, I hope to collaborate with you guys on some of these specials. But right now we've gotten to the end of the show, and I just wanted to ask you guys: do you guys have parting messages to our viewers out there about Motodeal, about Torque of the Town, stuff that you guys are doing? Jinno?
Well, for those who have been watching the Motodeal videos and reading the articles, thank you very much for the support. And if you are thinking, even if you're just thinking about getting your first bike, I hope that you do two things first. I hope that you will first invest in yourself, so take the lessons. And then aside from that, invest in your gear. So especially the helmet. That's really the most important one. Don't skimp on the helmet. Get the best helmet that you can afford. Because
totally agree.
That is your head. I mean, invest in yourself, learn the skills, learn, get the proper gear, and once you get all that, proceed to the bike. And it's a different world. It really is. It'll lead you to, believe me, it will lead you to better mental health. So go ahead, but just make sure that you invest in yourself and your gear first.
Great. How about you, Caco?
Just very quickly, to all those that have been listening to and watching Jinno, I apologize. Moving on to Autodeal. Thanks for subscribing to our channel. We could use more subscribers like yourselves. We create these videos just for you. We're under our target for last year, but hopefully that you guys will be able to help us get to 300,000 subscribers, because that really means a lot to us, because we want to be able to create as many videos for you guys as possible. So the more subscribers we have, the better it is. And if you guys have any suggestions for either Jinno or myself, hit us up on one of our reviews on YouTube. Give us a comment, and we'll see what we can do about it. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Okay, so how do they follow you guys? Where do they see you?
For Motodeal, follow Motodeal on YouTube. It has its own channel. And for Autodeal, we have our own channel as well, which is Autodeal. Jinno can be found on social media as well, on Facebook and on Instagram. I can be found on Instagram too. And Autodeal and Motodeal can also be found on their Instagram pages and Facebook pages as well.
Jeans, how about you?
Yeah, so I mean, he didn't mention at least my handles. It's JINNO RUFINO. It says it right there in the bottom of the screen. Where is it?
There you go. Boom.
Yeah. So that's on the social media platforms. And of course, those of you who message me on my personal YouTube channel, that's not the Motodeal YouTube channel. That's why there's a lot of sports stuff there. So go to the motodeal.com.ph YouTube channel, and that's where all the motorcycle stuff are. And Caco said his goal is 300,000. Is that right? Our goal is only 100,000. So we're not even at 100 yet. We need to get to 100. So I hope you guys can subscribe. Even if you don't ride bikes, please do subscribe.
Okay, so you've heard it from the titos of the Torque of the Town. That's a tongue twister for you right there. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching tonight. And if you haven't already, please check us out at Tuason Racing TV on YouTube and at Tuason Racing on Facebook and Instagram. And of course, check us out for our latest shows. We also do shows every Wednesday night on Facebook, 8 o'clock. And this has been Jp Tuason and Jinno Rufino, Caco Tirona. Guys, thanks for being here tonight. And see you guys on our next episode of Riding Shotgun Conversations. See you. Peace.